Hello everyone, my name is Asyrafchazz and welcome back to yet another One Piece card game video, and this time we're going to talk about every single purple card in OP-04. Purple has a lot of interesting cards. Got Miss All Sunday, so immediately it's the best, but it has a lot of cards for Crocodile. Both blue, purple, crocodile if you want to, but more often than not it's just the purple, yellow crocodile from OP-04, the new leader, and it has a lot of interesting but also very powerful cards. So we're going to talk about them in this video. If you want to see the other colors, there's a playlist with all of them somewhere in the description below, so check it out then. But now let's just jump into the purple cards in OP-04. Alright, as usual, if you want to see the cards for yourself, link will be in the description below. This is the Asia version of the website with more accurate English translations. I'm going to skip over the leader because we've talked about Crocodile in more in-depth. So Crocodile, that's great. This time in purple and yellow. And now we're going to talk about Iceberg. Iceberg was a leader that was shafted in the previous set, but you know, things may change with new cards. It's a 1-cost 0 powered character with counter 1000, and his ability is on your opponent's turn, -1. If your leader has the water 7 type, this character gains blocker during this turn. So once again, situational blockers may not be as good as it seems, but this time it's situational because you just have to don -1 and you just have to have Iceberg as your leader. So this could protect Iceberg as a leader. Whether or not it makes it a playable leader or makes it, like, you know, finally be able to stand toe to toe with all the other cards in the metagame remains to be seen, but you have an option if you want to play Iceberg in the future. Next up, we got arguably one of the best cards in the super rare slot. It's Crocodile. 8 cost 9000 power, and on play don -2. If your leader type includes Baroque Works, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life card. So it's essentially just recovery +1 as long as you don -2. And with purple, it doesn't matter if you don -2, you can always get the don back. And on your opponent's turn, don -1, draw 1 card and trash 1 card from your hand. Yeah, you can use this, on your opponent's attack. So whenever your opponent's attack, you can use this ability to don -1, draw 1, trash 1, look for your counters, look for your events. So Crocodile, a really powerful super rare. So let's move on to Tom. 3 cost 4000 power, counter 1000, part of Fishman and water 7. And activate main, you may trash this character. If your leader has the water 7 type, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and invest it. So it is ramp, but you have to trash Tom. Okay, kind of low accurate in a way. You know, because Tom dies in the show. That's not a spoiler, it's how many years already. But yeah, this is an interesting card for sure. If you want to use it in Iceberg, you can. I do think that, you know, if you need the ramp, I guess after Tom is attacked, you can just trash it, gain 1 Dawn back. But more often than not, you probably won't need to use Tom, so it's kind of below average. I'm sorry, Tom. Next, we got Banana Gator, one of arguably the best card to ever exist in the One Piece card game. 5 cost 7000 vanilla with counter 1000. This is your 5 cost 7000 vanilla slot. So let's move on to Frankie. 1 cost 1000 power with counter 2000. So you know that you could play it in Iceberg if you want to. On your opponent's attack, once per turn, don -1. If your leader has the water 7 type, up to one of your leader or character gains plus 1000 power during this battle. So essentially it's giving something counter 1000 by giving it additional 1000 power, but it is a 2k counter that you want to keep in your hand. You have to kind of give up a 2k counter for this effect, because and you can only use it once per turn. So not the greatest card ever. I think if it was like every single opponent's attack without the once per turn clause, I think this would have been a sleeper hit for sure. But because of that, it's just meh. So there you go. Next, we got Miss All Sunday, one of the greatest cards to ever exist. 5 cost 5000 power, on play, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and invest it. So it's a straight up ramp. Then if you have 6 or more Dawn cards on your field, draw 1 card. And the trigger ability is don -2, play this card. It's a great card for a ramp in you know, any purple deck that wants to play Miss All Sunday, and it's a draw 1 if you have 6 or more Dawn cards. This is definitely a staple in purple decks moving forward. Even if you're not playing Crocodile, this will be a staple for sure. Love it. Love Miss All Sunday. Makes me want to play purple just so I can play Miss All Sunday. Anyway, let's move on to Miss Golden Week. 2 cost 3000 power with counter 1000. On play, if your leader's type include Baroque Works, up to one of your opponent characters with a cost of 5 or less cannot attack until the start of your next turn. Its trigger ability is don -1, play this card. So, you know, you can combine it with essentially yellow cards to have multiple cards that you can trigger from your life with Crocodile. And then yeah, you can prevent something from attacking with Miss Golden Week. It's a great way to out-tempo your opponent a little bit, prevent them from committing one other character to attack because they will just be locked down by Miss Golden Week. Very low accurate as well. And it's a great card. I think this could be seen, this is definitely a playable card. Not sure whether it will be a staple in the future, but if the meta calls for it, this will be a very good addition to purple decks for sure. Next we got Miss Valentine, 2 cost 2000 power with counter 1000. Look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 card with a type including Baroque Works and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is your searcher, except it's a 2 cost searcher. Not sure why it's 2, but I think, okay, now I know. The reason why it's 2 cost is because it has triggered Dawn -1, play this card. So if your opponent triggers it from your life, you can play it for free by Dawn -1, and then you essentially get to search. So definitely a staple for any purple based Baroque Works deck. So let's move on to Miss Merry Christmas, 4 cost 4000 power with blocker and Dawn -1, play this card. I can see a world where you have Miss Merry Christmas and Sanji in a purple yellow deck and then just have a lot of blockers that you can play from your life. I think that would be good as well. So this is a decent card, and you can always ramp back up with Miss All Sunday. So the Dawn -1 is nudgeable at this point, so that's pretty good. And then we got Yokozuna, 3 cost 3000 power, counter 1000 with blocker. On your opponent's attack, Dawn -1, return up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less to the owner's hand. This is another one of those situational blockers. If the metagame calls for it, this will be a decent addition to any purple based deck, because 2 or less, if all of these cards are meant to counter Zoro essentially, but you don't want to return like the searchers back to Zoro's hand. You can use this to return back a buggy that has a really high power after being pumped up by Makino and Magra. This could be a good way to counteract that. So if the metagame calls for it, Yokozuna can be played. Then we got Mr. 2, Bon-chan, 3 cost 4000 power with counter 1000. Also, this artwork matches up with the Sanji artwork in red. And then on your opponent's attack, Dawn -1, this character base power becomes the same as the power of your opponent's attacking leader or character during this turn. Then trigger ability is Dawn -1, play this card. I think that's a very interesting effect. It's very low accurate as well to Mr. Bon Clay's ability. You can just Dawn -1, and then you can essentially just become the same base power, and then you just need to counter 1000 after that. Makes it difficult to get rid of, and it's not once per turn. You can use this every time your opponent attacks into Bon-chan. So if you have multiple 1k counters in your hand, this could be really quite good to protect Mr. Bon-chan. So there you go. I think it's interesting, not essentially a full-on staple, but could be played if you want to. Alright, next up we got Mr. 3, Galdino, 3 cost 4000 power with counter 1000. On your opponent's turn, once per turn, Dawn -1, give up to 1 of your opponent's characters -1000 power during this turn. Once again, that once per turn clause hurts this card for sure. You can use it if you want to, but it's not really that powerful in the grand scheme of things. So yeah, I think this is kind of a below average card. Great artwork though, I think it's really quite cool. So let's move on to Mr. 4, Babe. 5 cost 6000 power with counter 1000. On your opponent's turn, Dawn -1, this character gains blocker and 1000 power during this battle. So this could be interesting. It's a really strong stat line body, 5 cost 6000 power. And if your opponent, if you didn't attack with it, if it's just on your field as active, you can Dawn -1 and gains blocker, and you can do it every single time your opponent attacks if you want to, but you have to rest it after every single block. And it gains 1000 power, so it's essentially 5 cost 7000 power blocker for Dawn -1. I think it's decent, could be a playable card for sure if the metagame calls for it. So let's move on to Mr. 5, 7 cost 8000 power. On your opponent's attack, once per turn, Dawn -2. You may invest this character, KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. I think this is a powerful card. Even though it has the once per turn clause, it's a straight up removal for 1 of your opponent's characters that's 4 or less for only Dawn -2 and resting this character. And the next turn you can just attack. It's a big body, 8000 power body on the field, and it's really quite powerful. I think this can definitely see some play in like Baroque Works decks for sure. Then we got Miss 13 and Miss Friday, very cute. 3 cost, 1000 power with counter 2000, so there you go, a counter 2000 for purple. Activate main, you may trash this character and one of your characters with a type including Baroque Works. Add up to one of your Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. Trigger abilities to play this card. So essentially you can sacrifice this and another character that has Baroque Works just to gain 1 Dawn. It's not that powerful of an effect. I think it's too much of an ask for it's too much of an ask just to ramp yourself by 1 or anything as active, but you can use it to kind of trick plays if you want to, if your opponent isn't expecting it. But I think there are just better ways, better cards out there. You can use it as 2k counter if you want to, so that's good. Next up is Colorless Trap, a 1-cost event card with counter, Dawn -1, up to one of your leader or character gains 1000 power during this battle, then vest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. Its trigger ability is add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. I think this is not that powerful of a card. Sure, you can vest up something that's 4 or less, but it's only, like, if it gives plus 2k power, then maybe I think this could be useful, but it's only 1k power boost, so maybe not that powerful at the end of the day. Essentially just counter 1000 for Dawn -1 and a 1 cost. So I don't see this being played as much, but I do think that when there's things that you want to be resting in the 4 cost slot, depending on how powerful green becomes, some other colors, maybe yellow even, then this card could be a necessary card to play. But other than that, I don't see this being played as much as compared to other event cards, such as Napalm Cannon. Yeah, I'm not saying that this will be played, but yeah, 3 cost, counter card, up to one of your leader or character gains plus 6k power during this battle. Then if you have 2 or less life cards, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and vest it. Trigger abilities, add up 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. So same thing, 3 cost plus 6k counters, unless you're using it in Sanji. Don't really see a lot of play. People just prefer more efficient counters like Blast Breath, 1 cost plus 4000 or 2 cost plus 4000. So yeah, this definitely may not see some play at all in the overall meta game, but if you want to, you can use it if you want. And next up, we got Weakness is an Unforgivable Sin. Really brutal card from Crocodile right here. 1 cost counter, Dawn -1, up to one of your leader or character gains plus 1000 power during this turn. Oh wait, let me go back to Miss... okay, yeah, Colorless Trap is during this battle. Not as good as this one because it gives plus 1000 power during this turn. And the trigger abilities add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active, so you can ramp yourself if you want to. The fact that it gives plus 1k power during this turn, essentially transforming your leader into potentially a Whitebeard type leader with 6000 power, is very powerful. I think this card may see play. It's definitely a playable card, and people, if you're not expecting this, just gonna throw off all your effects or attacks in the future, because now you gotta think, okay, plus 1k and then plus your 2k, 4k counter. So yeah, this I definitely can see this card being played for sure. But there you go, every single purple card in OP-04, a little bit of a mix between the Water 7 cards for Iceberg and also the Baroque Work cards for Crocodile. I think Crocodile, the super rare itself, are really powerful in purple. The rest of the cards, some are good, some are bad. Gotta see what people make up with or come up with in the meta game moving forward. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Next, we're gonna talk about the black cards and then finally yellow after that. I'm looking forward to that. So look out for it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.